Hey strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and I promise I am getting a haircut tomorrow, but it's not gonna be what you want. It's more of the same. Anyways, this weekend was Europe's Strongest Man, arguably the third biggest title in all of strongman, behind World's Strongest Man and the Arnold, which kind of I think go here or there, depends on who you ask, and who won it. And then it's Europe's, because a lot of the strongmen are from Europe, and the national title in America isn't really, the best athletes aren't always there. Whole other subject. So, Hafthor Bjornsson was going for his 5th title. I believe it would have been his 6th title in a row if it wasn't for that pesky Lawrence Shaw that got in between, 3-4 years ago. So he was going for his 3rd title in a row. He also, the record for most Europe's Strongest Man titles is 6 by Mariusz Pudzianowski. Hafthor's looked pretty much unbeatable this year so far, including last year, and he just seems to just keep reigning his domination. I guess all we need to know is if he's still going to be unbeatable against the Hound in Game of Thrones, which is premiering soon. Speaking of which, let's just talk, which I don't think he is getting enough credit for, is that Friday night, he was in New York at a Game of Thrones premiere. Had to do makeup, walk a red carpet, find 3 suits to make into one so they fit him. And then he just casually just shows up, gets a red eye, shows up in London, and just tries to lift a max log, and then 4 other events. I don't know the time in between both of those, but yeah, he somehow showed up for the rules meeting. I think it was 2 days before Europe's, and anyways, pretty impressive that he's able to just, keep up that kind of schedule and demands and still win contests when that doesn't seem to work for everyone. But I'm sure he flew first class and all that, and deservingly so. He is the world's strongest man on Icelandic air. So the first event was the max log lift. This was also the log lift world championships, which I covered in a past video you can find in my channel if you want to hear me ramble even more. But as it pertained to the actual contest, Mateusz Kieliszkowski, I butchered it that one time because I was trying to make a joke, won the event with 214 kilos. Hafthor Bjornsson last year hit 213, and even his 202.5 looked just a little shaky, and 214 wasn't super close. So he ended up tying for 2nd in the event with Mateusz getting a 1.5 on him. There's only 9 competitors, so he got 9 points, then 7.5 for Janasia and Bjornsson. Interesting on Janasia is he almost missed 190. He actually did miss it, but in strongman, you have like 30 to 60 seconds to get your max lift. So he was awarded it. Pretty much everyone else, except for a few, missed 190. Something to know is that the log is probably the event in strongman where training numbers are so much higher than your competition lifts. Barely anyone ever puts up better log presses in competition than they do in training. If you go down the list of what all of these athletes, and you go back and look at their YouTube and Instagram, almost all of them hit more weight than they did at Europe's Strongest Man. I think that is one of the things that makes Zydrunas Savickas so incredible, is that when I interviewed him, cheap plug, you can find that on my channel, just search Strong Talk /Zydrunas Savickas. He all of his heaviest lifts have come in competition. I think he barely has done more than 210 or something in training. I don't remember the exact numbers. You're gonna have to listen to that interview to see, and it's really worth it. I was a little nervous. Then we went on to the axle deadlift, which Mark Felix set a good, at 54 years old, set a very respectable opening attempt at 7 reps. It was a 350 kilos from standard height-ish, 9-ish inches. Sorry to mix metric and standard. I think that's about mid 700 pounds, a little under 800, 771, sounds about right. Red penners can correct me in the comments. And then from there, it wasn't eclipsed until I think Adam Bishop went and got 8. And then, who was it? It was Mikhail Shivlikov. He got 9, and it seemed like it was right at the buzzer, but it was not good, and that was big points there. So he was awarded 8 and had to split points there. Something to note is that Kilishkowski got 5 reps, so he beat a couple people at deadlift. He beat Lawrence Chalet, who's pulled over 420 kilos in competition in the past. He also beat Luke Stoltman. So 5 reps at 700 and 350 kilos. It is improving. His deadlift's improving. Yes, we want to see it. We want to see it improve, so we can stop saying if only his deadlift improves, he would. We want to see it. We want to see Kilishkovsky get his deadlift 900 plus 950, so he can just bring in more Polish power like Marius era. It's like just a giant Marius, just because he's Polish. Then we went to the flip and drag. It was a tire flip followed by a chain drag. There was, I think Lawrence said Chalet said he had knee problems, so he skipped the event. Adam Bishop, I really thought was going to do better in this event, but he just didn't look too good in the tire flip. But he probably was the fastest in dragging the chain back. He just lost so many seconds in the tire flip. I don't know if it was due to his past bicep issues or just not a good event for him or what. But yeah, just absolutely looked very fast. I wasn't hand timing it. Then a lot of they're very close in times. Gymnasia lost a lot of points, doing it in 57 seconds. I guess, he went all out and got second in the deadlift, getting 9 reps, and I heard it was puking backstage. And then there's very fast pace these shows, so they're all trying to keep up with Thor, and they weren't, and it was hard. It's hard. It's Europe's Strongest Man. And they're very fast-paced because it is in front of a live audience. Even if it does seem like there's a lot of downtime, it's way less downtime than most strongman shows. I mean, it was done pretty quick, even with all, the max log takes a while. Everything else, they're boom, 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 and that really is tough, conditioning-wise, especially if you're going all out. So he was puking. Yeah, in just 57 seconds, really suffered on that event. I think that's the slowest time of the people that attempted it. And then, of course, Hafthor put up a time of 44.49, and Kilishkovsky just beat that at 43.41, so very close. Tom Stoltman, 45.37 for 3rd place, and I think he did an extra flip on the tire. You're only supposed to do 4 flips followed by it wasn't for distance. Sometimes the tire has to cross the line, and he flipped it, so across the line, I think it was his 5th flip. So he probably was the fastest. He just made a mental mistake, and it just seems like something that Tom Stoltman seems to do. He's just absolutely incredible athlete, and once he gets more and more experience, which he already does, he's only going to get better, and he looks like the sky's the limit on his potential. The Hercules hold, that took a while because there's these 2 giant pillars. The longest time you hold it wins, and I remember they're resetting after, I think, so Big Laws put up 46.56. These are unofficial times, so don't quote me, even though I know you will. And then they have to use I have one. It's a come-along. On each one, this guy's just sitting there, come along. It looks like he had to ratchet the thing about 100 times, 2 separate guys on each pillar, and they looked like they had the hardest event of the weekend, having to ratchet these giant pillars back up into position. So strongman does not do itself any favors by having these larger-than-life implements that then have to be reset by men. Other strong men, but not as strong men. Not as strong of men. Anyways, yeah, so then Mark Felix goes and just holds it until he gets bored. An incredible minute and 22.26 seconds for the win. Hafthor, I thought this was the opportunity that he could lose points because his grip on timber carry and frame sometimes affects him. But what he maybe doesn't have as good of a grip, or I know he's mentioned that in some of the videos on Larry Wheel's channel, so maybe he's been working on it more. Because it seems like he hasn't been working as much on stuff like his log press because he doesn't really lose that many points there. Maybe he's been working on his grip, and he always tries to be the best all-around strongman athlete he can be, not necessarily go for records, just be the best possible athlete. And he put up if there's anyone but Mark Felix there, would probably win the event against anyone in the world. Almost a full minute at 55.13 seconds for second place. And, it doesn't really matter that Mark beat him because he wasn't in contention for the title. What did matter is that Kielszkowski got 40 seconds and got only 2 points, second to last. So he just didn't look like he had as good of a positioning. Hafthor, maybe his grip's better, but he also looked like he was the most experienced athlete on the implement, maybe other than Mark Felix, and just had his positioning 100%, and he was locked in. He had his head back, and it looked like he was keeping the chains tighter, so the pillars were more upright, and less of the weight was pulling him apart, and just looked textbook form and like an experienced athlete he should. He used to be the guy that would make these little mistakes, and he's definitely not that strongman anymore. He was very methodical and super good. Yeah, Lawrence Chalet's actually held up for third place for big points. But yeah, right there, Kielszkowski basically lost the event. You would think he loses it in the deadlift, and he lost it in there, going on the Atlas Stones. Tom Stoltman is incredible and did them in 21.18 seconds. That's 120 to 200 kilogram stone series. Hafthor pretty much already won the event before the stones even started. He ended up going against Kielszkowski, who did it almost as fast as Stoltman in 22.61. Hafthor only did 3 stones. People are saying he isn't as good as him. He didn't need to do it. He could have just sat there. The crowd's lucky he did 3. I don't think that is any indication on who is a better stone loader between him and Kielszkowski. I just think if you've already won in football, you down the ball. Overall, Janashi also puts up a good time of 28.52 to come back. Hafthor only gained 3 points on the event, so he was about, I think, 9.5 point lead going into stones. Knew he didn't have to do much. Ends up winning his 5th title. Next year, he is going to try to tie Mariusz Pudzianowski's record of Europe's Strongest Man title and get his 6th. Kielszkowski does enough in the stones to wrap up 2nd. He looks like he is sick of getting 2nd places if you look at the podium. Janashia, just a couple points behind with 28.5, gets 3rd. Tom Stoltman, a very impressive 4th place with 26. He's one of the upcoming stars in strongman, and I think going to be one of the next people that World's Ultimate Strongman take to Dubai for their incubator program, which Larry Wheels just hatched from. More news on that later, maybe. Shivlikov just half a point off with 25.5 in 5th, and that shows how important that one rep that he did lock out just a little after the buzzer in the deadlifts ended up being. Probably cost him at least $1,500 if I don't have the prize breakdown, but that's generally how they end up going, about $1,000 or $2 a place after 4th or 5th. Luke Stoltman, 22.5. Mark Felix, 21. Good job by Mark. Adam Bishop had an off day. I actually picked him to be 3rd. Maybe it's my curse. If I ever predict a British athlete to do well, they tend to not. So maybe all you people in England can send me hate mail for that. But I thought, looking at how he looked at Britons, that he looked really good. Could have just been an off day. Could have had some injuries. Hopefully he is It's an on day for Worlds, which is coming up soon. More information on that on my channel and startingstrongman.com. Lawrence Chalet, knee injury, skips a couple events, gets 11.5. Good luck to him. Looking forward to seeing his recap on his YouTube channel. Thanks for watching mine. Of course, I'm Kalle Beck. You can follow me at LetKaleLift. You can go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your strongman training needs and training gear, such as SBD, knee sleeves, other brands of knee sleeves, my ebook, new ebook by Dane Wallace, Unbreakable Strongman. It's $27 and it has how-to guides on all the events. It is phenomenal. Buy that, store.startingstrongman.com, follow at Starting Strongman, and thanks for watching.